Okay, so not only are you on Facebook, because it's okay to say you're on Facebook, but are you on Farmville? Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Okay, so good. So I get to explain what Farmville is. So Farmville, it's a virtual game. And Facebook allows us to go and do networking and do all that. I think everybody knows that, right? So what Farmville is, it's this virtual farm, and it's a lot of fun, and you plant crops, and you sow your crops, and you, what else do you do? You get to buy things, you get to go and visit people, and you can go to other people's farms and help them get rid of their critters and their weeds, and during different seasons, they'll have like different things. Like at one point they had a carnival, or there was a balloon, a hot air balloon, or you could do the, oh, I got crop circles and a green cow. And when you go and the cow's ready and you milk the cow, it gives you milktonium. And then if there's pink cows, they give you strawberry milk. If there's brown cows, they give you chocolate milk. Everything has to be harvested, but only in its time. And so what's really fun about Farmville is that it's constantly changing, and the more you play it, the more you go up in levels, and the more stuff you get, the more gifts you get, the more neighbors you have, the more gifts you get, and the more opportunities you get to visit them and to, let's see, they give you gifts, and so you can either sell them, or you can keep them, or you can use them. You can store them now. So there's lots of opportunities to play around on Farmville. So what got me thinking about Farmville was, a friend of mine called me after I gave a talk, and I said a little bit about prosperity, and she called and she says, oh my gosh, she says, I'm getting the I'm a millionaire thing, but I'm applying it in the wrong area of my life. And she says, I'm a multi-millionaire in Farmville. She says, so now, and it's actually after a while, there's only so much you can buy in Farmville, and you just keep accumulating all this money, and there's not enough stuff to spend it on after a while. And so you truly become a multi-millionaire with all this money, and you just have to like start giving stuff away, but you never ever can give away all that money because you have so much money after a while. And so I just thought, hey, I saw Dawn. I'm like, hey, I'm seeing new faces I haven't seen in a while. So, now I wasn't trained that. So she called me and said that, and all of a sudden it got me to thinking about the game of Farmville. And my farm, go on there and check it out, because my farm's rocking. Okay, and so for a long time I felt guilty about spending time on Farmville, but it's my creative outlet. I'm an artist, and I don't really have a lot of time to paint and do the things I want to do like I used to. So I'm really creative, and I'm very colorful, and I do all this stuff on there. So I wanted to do the metaphysical interpretation of Farmville in regards to finances in the real world. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, how we are virtually millionaires. We are just misplaced. Okay? Our perspective is misplaced. So the one thing I noticed about Farmville is that you spend freely. You don't ever think about it because you know that it's always going to be replenished, and there's always going to be more. You never wonder where it's going to come from because you know that it's always going to be there. I thought, huh, isn't that interesting? You have no problem with deleting things. You have no problem with getting rid of things that you actually spent money on, or gifting things, because you know you're always going to be given more. Because the more you give, the more you receive. You have no problem doing that. You don't even hesitate. You have no problem going in and deleting all the crops you spent all that time planting, deleting houses, selling stuff, getting rid of trees, and starting all over, because you always know there's going to be more. You always know there's going to be a richer harvest, and that when a new wave of creativity comes through Farmville, when, like last time it was a carnival, they had all this carnival stuff that you could buy. And now it's all kinds of Christmas stuff. So the more presents you receive, people gift you presents, you put them under your tree, and your tree grows. I'm like, okay, I love that. So let's see. You're not afraid to let go of. I love the whole friends thing. Like I said, the more friends you have, the farther up on levels you go. The more you visit them, the more you help them out. It gives you points to continue to go up levels, so you become more and more of an expert. The more crops you plant of the same thing, which is the more thoughts you plant of the same thing, you become an expert. I'm going to start relating stuff back in just a second. So on friends, we go and we help them out. We accept things from them. We give them things. We move up faster, we get more money, we get more stuff, we get bigger, better stuff. We go and we help them out, they get critters. You know, so you can go out into their farm and they get critters in their farm. And so you can go in and you can get rid of the critters. You can weed their gardens, okay? And if there's pests in their crops eating their good, their supply, you can help them get rid of that. So let's relate that back. What we believe in this teaching is this. Every thought is a seed. Every thought you have, you're planting something. So in Farmville, if I want watermelons, I'm not going to plant grapefruit trees and expect watermelons, correct? What I plant, I'm going to get. What my friends, and the friends can come in and fertilize. So when they fertilize certain crops, they grow bigger and faster. And isn't that kind of like calling someone when you're forgetting that you're really not a victim and they remind you of the truth of yourself? They're fertilizing the thoughts that you have already planted. So let's say you're planting a thought of lack and it continues to grow. Do you call friends to help you to fertilize that? I don't think so. You call friends to remind you of the truth. It's going to be okay. Do you truly have a belief that there is an abundance in the universe and it's there for you, that you are as God created you? Do you believe that? Because what you sow, you reap. What you plant, you get back. I love Farmville. Okay, so let's go back over here. I love it. It's like we fertilize a thought. How do we fertilize a thought? We fertilize a thought by continually reaffirming that thing that we want to grow. So what do we want to grow? We want our abundance to grow. We want our health to grow. We want our love relationships to grow. How are we fertilizing them? Are we fertilizing them with negative thoughts? Well, that'll never work because it didn't work before. Or are we saying that I claim right here and right now the abundance of the universe, knowing that there is an endless supply and it is for me and there is nothing and no thing that can stand in between me and my good? Do you say that? Or do you say, well, I don't know. I don't know. Well, it'll never work. Why try? It didn't work last time I tried. Well, I only make this much money. My job is the source of my supply. Wrong. Your job is yet one avenue of your supply. Where we fall into a problem, can we do something about that? Thanks. Where we fall into a problem is when we believe that our job is the source of our supply. And so that when maybe that job is cut back, something happens that we're laid off, something happens, we believe that that job was the source of our good. No. When we can shift our consciousness and say that it was only one source of our good, and there are many avenues from which our good can come from because there is an endless supply in the universe, then we are in that place ready and open to receive our good from wherever it's going to come. But when we believe, well, there went my job, I got laid off, I don't know what I'm going to do now, I'm only going to get unemployment, that's not going to give me enough money. We are putting a block in between us and the flow of our good. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. So, the cool thing also is that when we harvest something in Farmville, when it's ready to be harvested, you can harvest it. It will not be harvested until it's ready. You can't yank it out. It's like, it's only 68% ready. So often, we plant a seed into the universal mind, and then we go and try to yank it up before it's ready and wonder why we have only received 50% of our good. Because we did not continue to go the length, or we were not really, truly willing to do whatever it takes to get our good, to go the full length to make it happen, to wait for it to be fully ready. Also, another thing in Farmville is that if you don't harvest it when it's ready, it perishes and withers. How many times do we let our good, supposed, because there's always endless supply, but how often do we sit on our good and not really work with it, and say, well, we only give 50% to that which we have sown. We give 50% of our energy to it, and then it withers and dies, and we have to start over. Those are the times when we feel hopeless, tired, worn out, frustrated, depressed. We have those feelings like, oh, I'm doing it again. I just don't know if I can do this again.